Hello and welcome, my friends, to the Growth Mode Conversations podcast. We are so excited to bring you this new show. I'm Matt Major, founder of Growth Mode Technologies, your local IT department. We're a different type of tech company, and while technology is our business, our purpose is growing businesses and helping our community, and that's what we're doing right here with the Growth Mode Conversations podcast. Each week we'll interview a different local professional, learn about their life, and get some great advice on how we can all grow and succeed from their experience. The best thing you can do to participate is visit our website, growthmodetech.com, and sign up for our newsletter. In the newsletter, you're going to get updates on this podcast with the latest episodes. You're going to get some technology tips, some general business information, and some events that might be happening in the community. And of course, if you need technology services to grow your business, not just support it, but make it better, that's what we do. Again, growthmodetech.com is the place to be. But enough with the plugs and all that. Let's get into the show. So welcome to the Growth Mode Conversations podcast. I've got a very interesting guest. I'm excited to learn a lot about him. And I'm doing this thing with this podcast where I don't do introductions. I let folks introduce themselves. So if you could go right ahead, tell us who you are, what business you're in. Let's hear all about it.
Hi, I'm Peter Smith. 5 years ago, a few friends and I, we started Upstate Interactive, which today is all about blockchain services. Last year, a few friends and I, we started something called Codes. That's a 501c3 for the promotion of technology here in Syracuse.
Oh, that's pretty awesome.
And this year, friends and I, we started Flexin Incorporated.
You have better friends than I do. I'm just, that right off the bat, I've already figured that out. But what is that one about?
Way to improve your exercise for anything that might be at-home training.
Okay.
A few years ago, I wanted to learn something which is a very challenging gymnastics move. I went to the local gymnastics gym. I couldn't figure it out. It was in the intellectual capability of the people there to explain it. Just to actually do it was not easy.
Yeah.
I found somebody who was about as good as can be on the planet. With the idea that he lives in Australia, we needed to train by video. So Flexin is the birth of him as a world-class breakdancer and myself as a product developer to come up with something that the whole world could use to train handstands or planche or challenging fitness moves. And we launch I'm not sure what the date is, but soon.
That's incredible. So you've taken a very traditional, very physical, fitness, training, athleticism, and you've found a way to bring technology to the world here and spread it around. Is that accurate? Am I stumbling over the description the right way there?
Well, it's very true that there's certain highly challenging things that people are learning on YouTube in a way that's revolutionized all of what people are doing across the world in a number of different disciplines. For my trainer, he saw YouTube when he was 18, and there was a move that a French breakdancer was doing that seemed darn near impossible. It was him, though, as a gymnast at the time, that was close enough. In seeing it, he was inspired to pursue that move, and then he went further and further with it, and I've seen what he's doing, and I'm inspired to do, and many others are inspired by, his name is Simon Atta, to try and train what it seemed like impossible skills. So the idea of Flexin is to make the impossible skills possible.
That's awesome. That is such a cool thing to do. I love hearing about this. Is the reason I'm doing this podcast, to be completely honest, is to hear about these interesting things. I know you're a guy in the software world. Now I find out you're in a fitness business. That's just, I love seeing people follow their passion, find opportunities, and doing things like that. That's the whole reason we're here. Let's go back to the first business you mentioned. I guess that's closest to your 9 to 5, you would say, the Upstate Interactive, isn't it?
Yeah, 24/7.
Yeah.
So,
okay. Fair enough.
It does fit in. Yeah.
Well, you mentioned that you work with blockchain. That's a huge buzzword. Everybody's hearing about this in all different facets, whether it's in the crypto, whether it's what blockchain can do for things that aren't money. What exactly are you doing with it? Tell us, when you say you're in that business, what does that actually mean?
A lot of the world has moved to the idea that the institutions that serve it are not fit for the 21st century. Well, a lot of what has come out of the world of currency has been decentralized currency, and that's what Bitcoin is. And it was the first to leverage the technology which blockchain is, which is very much a fundamental technology, and that it be not well understood is very natural. It's just so new.
Sure.
That it be heard about so often is very possible because of the way that the web works and communication goes fast and far. But beyond just finance, all manner of technology are possible through blockchain. I'll give a good example of Ksenia, who is, as far as Upstate Interactive goes, as brilliant a blockchain person there is to talk about.
Okay.
And she's got an organization called MGD. It is a woman-oriented, decentralized autonomous organization, DAO, DAO.
Okay.
It sounds very revolutionary,
Yeah.
but it's very, very simple. A group of people anywhere on the planet can come together and vote on the way money is spent at MGD. But the reality of it, it's not Robert Rules of Order. It's not that there's a parliamentarian and the president,
Sure.
and it's all based on the blockchain having a set of rules that in the beginning everyone has agreed to that are, without consensus, not changeable. So everybody has to agree if we're going to change the rules.
Yeah.
But if we all agree on the rules and we all have a vote, and we do as members of the DAO, the Decentralized Autonomous Organization, then we can come together and, in the case of MGD, give grants to people that are women in order to learn more of how to develop for blockchain.
So they can vote on the spending. They could vote on just any direction of an organization you could imagine, really.
Anything that you might do in a typical corporation or a nonprofit can be done in a DAO.
So what is your part in the puzzle? What do you do along the line here?
Well, here I am today. There's some level of the world is not so well educated on blockchain.
Sure.
And to a degree, educating people, whether they're looking for a grounded view on it or whether they're looking for something sensational, there's plenty out there. The reality of what we do at Upstate Interactive is, putting aside whatever the maybe broader terms of how it all fits into the broader world, we develop this stuff. We are technologists that are out there putting together the software, and with that said, our clients are good examples of how we fit into the world. I'll just give you one great example.
Please.
Creaticals is a client out of Boston, and the fellows that are running that company are having been in blockchain for about 8 years or so, and their idea is so brilliant and it is so well, to my mind, innovative that it became a no-brainer to take them as a client. You know that there's these things called NFTs out there, the whole world does. And what happens is an artist puts out an NFT and then hopes somebody buys it.
Sure.
And the price of doing that per piece of art can be $400 in equivalent. Depending on the day it goes up, depending on the day it goes down. But that makes it not possible for a lot of folks to participate because of the upfront price. Creaticals, a person looking for art, commissions to say, I'd like this, and whatever they describe could be a water bottle on a desk with a poster in the background.
Sure.
Then artists can then post, before they mint an NFT, before they put that $400 USD up to make it a real NFT, they can say, this is what I think it should be, and then the commissioner can say, I do like that and I want it and I'll buy it. So it creates a buyer before the seller has to go through the expense of putting it out on the blockchain.
It's almost kind of like an Upwork or almost like a Fiverr for the NFT world, right? You're kind of ordering work.
Oh, yeah.
In that world.
Good way to think about it. I'll have to suggest that over to the team over there. Yeah.
Thanks. That's great. That's incredible. So these companies have decided, they're already sold on the concept. They're already in this world, and they say, now we need a tech partner. And that's where they call you up, right? Is that pretty accurate?
Two parts of getting something available in order to work in the blockchain space are the part that works on the blockchain, and those are smart contracts. Those are those automated sets of rules that are not changeable. And then there is, how does anyone interact with that? It's very abstract, those sets of rules. It's almost like the contract of a corporation. You probably wouldn't ever see, as a customer, the contracts that run the corporation, but you would see some type of storefront. And we build that part. We build the user interface. We build the parts that operate in collaboration and coordination with those smart contracts. And the easiest thing is to say, if when you go to the Creaticals application, you can see it, you can touch it, Upstate Interactive built it.
Gotcha. So you're definitely doing the front end, and that's awesome. That's really cool. Is this something, as much as we hear about it, is this something you're actually seeing more business demand for? So are you getting more calls, or is it a lot of hype? What are you finding with that?
Business results. Maybe 40% growth in the blockchain work this year.
Wow.
By the end of 2021, we'll probably have gone up by that much. We're currently booking at least 6 months out, I think, for new clients in order to do some of this work. And as a result of that, I think that the broader world would agree, whether the price of Bitcoin is up or down, or whether the price of Ethereum, which is what the smart contract blockchain tends to be related to, is up or down. There is a deep and large set of investors that are seeing this, never minding the day-to-day, as the future of a way to operate in a decentralized manner.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I've heard of, again, I feel like I've only scratched the surface, and it almost bothers me because I'm a lifelong tech guy. I've been in this business for 30 years, and seeing crypto and seeing these things come and go, and me kind of ignoring them for many years I'm really kicking myself for doing that, especially when it comes to, I remember playing with Bitcoin wallets when they were a new thing, and why did I not just grab a couple of coins and hide them somewhere? That would be phenomenal today. But this is such an incredible world. I'm following a lot of Gary Vee. For anybody that follows him, he's dove in deep in the NFT world and all those types of things, and he talks about a future where a mortgage may be an NFT, where you transfer anything through these contracts and decentralized, and because there's ways to kind of maintain a piece along the way, right? Isn't that it's say in the case of an NFT where you buy it from me and then you sell it to somebody else, but there's still kind of almost like a royalty type of thing that could come back.
Sure. Some skepticism on Gary Vee.
Sure.
I met him in 2011, and he was sharing that at some point in the future, refrigerators would be ordering milk.
Okay.
In that decade since, our refrigerators, we still go to the store and buy milk. And I would say only that the possibilities that Gary Vee talks about are as numerous as the whole planet is talking about. It's not clear exactly what people will do someday down in the future with blockchain. It's just clear that it's going to get better and it's going to get broader. And I think that we believe at Upstate Interactive that the decentralization of trust is the number one thing that we're looking at with blockchain. Decentralizing, not needing. One thing that it solves is the double spend problem. That's what Bitcoin does. If you had a digital dollar, it would be trivial to copy it and then spend it in two places. Unlike a real dollar, which is in some ways very finite, you move it from A to B.
Sure.
So what solved this was PayPal. It became a third party to say we're not going to allow for double spending of our digital dollars, and we'll be the trusted entity that prevents that. Yet you needed PayPal. Now with blockchain, PayPal goes away, and you and I, Matt, can have a peer-to-peer transaction without the double spend. There's no way that I can take my 10 Bitcoin and send them to you, and then also send them to somebody else. And that's Bitcoin's great innovation.
Gotcha.
Taking that double spend out of it is one of the things that makes it viable for financial work. Now, how else it becomes viable is more clear as time goes by. NFTs are a brilliant and very positive and possible example. Of course, people can move it along and then still maintain some royalty. That's one possibility. Another client of ours, John Orion Young, and his initials are Joy, and he embraces that, has created Joy World.
Okay.
He creates all these NFTs of deeply intricate 3D models that are available in 20 different model formats. So if you have one of these NFTs, you can take your 3D model and do anything you want with it.
Wow.
But imagine it very much like a collectible sort of creature. And he's experimented with numerous ways of moving joys around. Multiple people could own it. The ownership could transfer over time. Even one contract said you could buy it. Somebody also, and not with your permission, just by virtue of spending more, could buy it away from you. And that was
Wow.
built right into the contract. So there's been various different models
And
on
when
how
you
they
say that
transfer
contract,
around.
that's really kind of software, right? So once that's kind of set in place, these things can happen automatically. You don't need a person to execute the contract, right? Is that accurate?
Quite so, quite so. The contract goes onto the Ethereum virtual machine. It's a globally distributed computer. And once it's on there you go. And then once people are transacting with it, they're bound by the rules of the contract.
Built in. That's incredible. That's the part that I think a lot of people struggle with a little bit is, like you said, today if we both had a few dollars in our wallet, I could pay you for something and hand you that cash and walk away. In the digital world, unless you have some sort of third party, whether you're going through your bank and your credit card or a PayPal or anybody really, even like the Facebook Pay and the Venmos and things, you're still giving your money to them and then they're giving their money, there's that third party. Here is the digital way of handing you the cash, right? I can open my coin wallet and I can say, send Peter 5 coins. And there's no bank, there's no PayPal, there's no, billionaires between us in that transaction.
Well, sure. The Facebook fat cat. Facebook wanted to create a coin called Libra. Scale and spectrum of different coin decentralization exists. There's something like Ethereum and Bitcoin, which are at one edge of decentralized. There is no permission needed. It is entirely up to everybody who is in the public to decide would they like to use it or not. And then there is something on the other side, which is what Libra has an intention to be. And that's where there are authorized validating computers. You might, as a Visa or a PayPal, participate in Libra by spending $2 million to have the privilege of validating the coin and the transaction. There is a practical benefit to having that level of validation, which is that the speed goes up.
Gotcha.
Libra, as proposed, would be fast. It would be a fast transaction and would happen in a rapid way that would imitate something closer to Visa.
Gotcha.
And without that, on the other end of it, Bitcoin and Ethereum, transactions don't happen as fast. They're better for larger transactions, but at the end of the day, it might not be ever at today's level of speed plausible to make your daily coffee purchase with it. You'd want to be in and out of your coffee shop in about 30 seconds as far as the transaction part goes.
Gotcha.
And it would take you a little longer. So the reality being, today, we're not quite replacing Visa, not quite. There is work being done, and in particular in Ethereum, with staking. And staking moves all of the concerns of speed into a more rapid cycle. It gets faster with the proposed protocols, and they're moving over to it.
Because, and just for folks that are listening, so the big difference here where you're talking about decentralization, right now Visa, say they've got one Visa server. So I swipe my card, it goes ding, checks that server, Matt's got money, approved, done. Where the decentralized comes in, it is not just one. It's by definition, there's a lot of literal computers and things spread out all over the place that has to verify and validate this transaction, right? That's how it becomes secure. So you can't have a server sitting at your house that just validates transactions and, gives you endless money, basically. Is that accurate? Is that?
Yeah, very
Okay.
much. As more people become a part of it, the more challenging it becomes to validate. Yet it becomes more secure. So it's one of these virtuous things that you
And that's
might
what these farms
see.
are, right? That's what
Oh.
these guys are doing in these places with all these computers.
Just to explain that for a moment.
Sure.
As it does get more challenging, it becomes more computationally intensive. So you buy more computers because the computational intensity goes
It's a
up.
harder math problem.
Right. Yet the reward remains the same. It's a fixed 1 Bitcoin that
I
gets
see.
rewarded. So the value of the Bitcoin goes up, and then it matters that you have more computers. You can have more computers calculating it because the reward is greater, and you calculate the probabilities and your electrical costs and this, that, and the other. And that's called proof of work, and that's something that's very popular today among all blockchains. What Ethereum is doing, like I said, with staking, is a move to a different direction where it is not a matter of buying more computer power. It is more proof of having yourself staked in terms of owning Ethereum as a participant in the world, and then you can do some validation on that.
Gotcha.
And Upstate Interactive has done that.
Wow, that's incredible. So I think we're probably close to out of time, but what I wanted to do is ask you, this is obviously a deep subject, and I'm definitely, we're going to have you back and explain more of this, especially at times where it's more and more in the headlines. But if you could give advice to somebody, an everyday business person, been in business for years, doing their thing, haven't even thought about this blockchain world, where should they look at? What is the thing they really need to be aware of as business evolves and this becomes a bigger part of it?
I would say there's a single book put out by Harvard Business Review that's a primer on blockchain from folks that are not writing the technology.
Okay.
And they're also not doing any Bitcoin farming, they're not, et cetera. They're basically just outside of it, seeing it as comparable to other technologies, and they can share a little bit of education with anybody about that. Beyond that, there is the other...
What's that one called?
Well, if you ask me now, I'll tell you it's by Harvard Business Review, and it's
Fair
a
enough.
pink book, and it's put out as part of their must-read. So it might say must-read blockchain.
We'll check it out and put it in the notes for folks.
Very cool. And then beyond that, you could find other people that are very, very much a part of this. So I would say you could look at what people are doing, whether you wanted to go on to Twitter and just look up crypto and find a few people that you like. You might do that well.
Sure.
I'll say for my part, if you follow John O'Ryan Young, you'll be following an artist who is deeply cool in the blockchain world, who's found some success, and I
Great.
would say that'd be all right. If you wanted to follow Ksenia, who's constantly going around the world, and for Upstate Interactive, checking out what's the latest, whether it's in Japan or Prague, whichever, you could find her on Twitter at the only Ksenia. And beyond that, it's a wide open world. And so just going down the rabbit hole
That's
is
incredible.
something that a lot of people talk about in
Yeah.
the blockchain. Find a way in and it'll pull you down.
That's wonderful. Last quick question. Should people in their traditional businesses be accepting crypto coins as payment today?
Forget what they should do. I can tell you what Upstate Interactive has decided
Okay.
is a fair way to transact. A bunch of our clients, being in the blockchain world, do want to pay us in cryptocurrency,
Sure.
one or the other. And there are stable ones. And they are denominated by their value being pegged to the US dollar.
Sure.
So we get paid in something called DAI, D-A-I,
Okay.
by some of our clients. And that means when they pay us 10,000 DAI, that's the equivalent of 10,000 US dollars.
Gotcha.
And we can go forward from there. And otherwise, you are taking somewhat of price appreciation or depreciation risk in buying
Because it's
Bitcoin
so
and Ethereum.
volatile, right?
Yeah. So what Upstate Interactive does today, and we're in the blockchain world, and we've had deliberations about what should we do in terms of on our balance sheet, Bitcoin and this, that. When you come down to it, as a small business, a medium business, what you'd like is some predictability and some certainty. And you can operate by saying that to get your business rolling and to be a part of the crypto world, something like DAI, or what are also known more broadly as stable coins, are fine and safe and basically
Great.
very much similar to US dollar way of running your business.
Wow. That is incredible. There is so much to learn, and we will definitely learn more. You know, this is the thing. I'm in the technology world, but I'm in the IT, the business technology world. I'm setting up networks, and we're putting together computers and servers and cloud solutions and things like that. But this is a whole nother side of the tech world that, again, I'm embarrassed and angry with myself that I don't know more already about. But luckily, you're here and can tell us a lot about it. So, give me all just the real quick, the Upstate Interactive, the website, and anything like that you want folks to check out.
Very simple to say. To find more, you can check out upstateinteractive.io. and that'll get you our website. From there, you can go to all our corporate stuff.
Perfect.
If you're interested more about what I've got to say, I'd love it if anybody reached out on LinkedIn, and that's Peter B. Smith with an Y where there would be an I, and I'd be happy to respond to any DMs or posts and all of that.
And I will personally endorse your LinkedIn. You put out some great content. I mean, some of the videos you shoot, they're just, even from just a video perspective, you do a great job, and you put out some good informative content, and I highly recommend folks follow you as well. That's what led me to draw you in here. So you're doing a good job, and I'm so happy to have you, and I hope you'll come back again.
I will. It's a joy.
All right. Thanks, Peter.